Are you stuck in a rut, feeling trapped or lacking in options? Or are you tired from actioning the manifestation of your dreams and not quite getting them happening? Then this is the show for you.
Welcome to Love Life, featuring your host, Jane Donovan.
The sun shines bright as it moves across my face. I feel the light.
Life can deal us tough times when we lose hope, times where we feel trapped or stuck or without options, and it's when we lose hope that we can spiral into anxiety, frustration, sadness, anger, or depression. And while I know feeling these emotions often brings us great learning, wisdom, acceptance, and self-love, I also feel it's during these times that we need to remember that magic can and does happen. The flip side is when we're in the zone of visualizing or creating or manifesting that which our heart desires, we too can lose hope. We may feel like we've done all that we can to make it happen for us. We've put the action into the plan, and yet for some reason, it's just not happening. So today's episode is one to remind each of us that magic does happen, and often it's when we least expect it. As you listen to today's episode, I encourage you to think of the times in your life where you received something fabulous, be it an opportunity or something in the physical or an experience that was completely unexpected. If you really take the time to ponder this question, I believe you'll find dozens, if not hundreds of times, that this has happened in your life. Take the time to really sit in this feeling, really soak up the magic of the unexpected being delivered to your door. And as you do this, remind yourself that magic can and does happen all the time. So whether you're stuck in a rut or feeling like you're not manifesting your desires, this show is for you, a gentle and fun reminder of how the universe is always supporting you, even when you feel alone.
It's time to hear from the Love Life Tribe.
And it is time to hear from the Love Life Tribe. This week, I posed the question, what is something fabulous that you've received unexpectedly? Let's have a listen to what they had to say.
Hi, I'm Sophia from Sydney. I set up an Instagram art account, and I was feeling really discouraged about work, and I was just going, oh, what am I going to do? I just can't stay in this industry anymore. And I was checking my emails, and someone had written to me from an art agency asking me to be part of an art show to display my work because they'd found me on Instagram, and they were saying, oh, we can see you're an up-and-coming artist. Would you like to join us? It's in 1 month. And at the time I probably only had 3 drawings compared to everyone else, but I thought, I'll just work really hard for the next month and just go for it and give it a go. So I ended up being part of the show, and I had my own little corner where my drawings were displayed, and I even got to go up on stage and talk about my art for a while and kind of introduce myself. And just watching myself on video, I just thought, that's a completely different person. I don't even know who that is because she didn't even stutter, and she just sounds like she's loving what she's doing. So, yeah, that was a really nice surprise.
What a gorgeous work. The universe is delivering strongly. So I would love it if you feel comfortable. If you've got a photo of you up on stage or with your artwork, I would love it if you want to share that in the Love Life Tribe. I always remember being told that the brain's an amazing thing, that it starts working the second we're born and it stops working the second we get on stage.
Oh.
And that is such a common fear that so many people have is, stage fright. It's a very genuine, real thing. Yeah. And yet when you really know what you're about and you know your passion, it does flow easily and effortlessly. And so that really was a very clear sign that you were in your zone of genius, that you're doing your thing, that, one of the many things that you're here to do. So congratulations. That's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Now you've got another story you want to share.
I do. So I'm actually one of the people still doing your highly sensitive course. Ever since I started that course, my life has just been really, really busy. All these things started happening. So I started going to uni, and So that's kept me really busy. But then, like, love has always been a tough area for me. But, like, I learned more and more about myself after that course. And, well, I'm halfway through still. But I met, like, I finally met someone, and he's really lovely. And
Yay!
I was just so surprised because I wasn't expecting it. And I was like, oh, wow. Because I remember, I think in one of the first recordings you were saying, oh, big things are going to happen. And yeah, I just never thought that would be one of the big things. So I was like, oh, Jane was right. She was so right.
Oh, that is fantastic. I love it. I remember when I met my husband, it was a surprise for me too. I had been actively dating. I was in my early 30s. Every one of my girlfriends was in a relationship or married. Some were, having babies. All of that was happening. And I always dated relatively easy. And so I never thought I'd be the last one left on the shelf. And I was. And it was a bit of a shock, and it wasn't actually socially a stage I very much enjoyed. And I kind of went, if this is how it's going to be, I'm going to get busy doing what I want to do. And so that was when I set up my first dance school. I already was a choreographer, and I did have dance troupes. I kind of went the reverse side. I went the pro first and then went to the amateur. So I decided to sublease a dance studio, a space. So subleased the dance studio, registered a business name, went and picked up a mobile phone. I picked up the keys to the studio. I picked up my business cards and my flyers, because in those days we didn't have the internet. So you got out and letterbox dropped. And I was so pumped that this was my dream. I was living it. And that was on a Saturday morning. And that night I went to a dinner with my girlfriend, who had this lovely man that she wanted me to meet some of his friends, so that her friends and his friends were starting to get together. Well, there he was. There was Simon at the dinner. And what happened? I believe it was the first time that I dated somebody who met me for who I am, versus people I'd met before. I'd been a bit of the camellia. I was people-pleasing, and I would meet some guy that I liked, and I'd go out on a couple of dates, and I would change to please him, to have him like me. And so I was so consumed in this excitement of setting up my own dance school that I didn't have any energetic space to try and people-please to impress Simon. I was just me. And what happens? He becomes my husband of over 20 years. It's that thing of when you really are presenting as authentic as you can, along comes a beautiful match for you. And I think that's what's happened for you, was that through the course, you started to get to know yourself more and more and more. Therefore, you are raising your vibration and your point of attraction, and along comes somebody that is that match. Would you say that's what's happened for you?
Definitely. Because I was, before the course, I was people pleasing, and just kind of, I would really avoid talking about myself, because I just felt like, if people really got to know me, then they'd find me boring, or they wouldn't want to get to know me. But after that, like, doing that work, it's helped me realize, there are things that are interesting things about me, and there's things that I love to do. And I don't really want to spend my life trying to please other people. I just want to enjoy my life and do what I want to do. And if the right person comes along, then that's great. But if not, I've got all this other stuff that, that I'm doing in my life. So yeah, I definitely think that's what's happened.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. And basically you're sparkling brighter because you found how interesting you are, and you had that confidence, that kind of self-belief in who you are, that the spine goes straighter, the shoulders go back, the chin comes up, the voice speaks more confidently, and we're not looking for the validation that perhaps prior to that awareness, we were looking for that validation from others.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, I'm Rosie from Bali. So as a teenager, people can read my story about this, I suffered from depression, which then eventuated into anorexia. And so that's what started me on my journey to health and nutrition. And now, I look back and I joined the dots, and I was actually, at the time, I was being starved of love at home. And so I validated that by starving myself of food, because that was the only thing I could control. So now I look at food as love. So every time I eat, it's an act of self-love. If I cook for people I love, it's an act of showing love. And so all of this stuff, like eating disorders is so complex, but that's taught me the gift of self-love and self-compassion, and I think that's now my purpose. So I've always thought any struggle that you go through in life, there's a lesson there, and it's a key to your life purpose, because your life purpose is always an act of service to then give to others. So I think people need to look at, if they're struggling with what their life purpose is, look and sit and, what have you been through in your life? What's been hard? What's been a struggle? What have you overcome? And then once you've overcome it, it's then your privilege and your purpose and gift to then go forth and help others going through a similar thing.
Beautiful. So for you, it was the unexpected gift of this becoming a life purpose for you through the trauma that you had experienced.
Yes. Yeah.
So the big surprise was the universe delivering the gift.
Yeah, and looking at it now from a place of gratitude rather than, the trauma or the pain that it caused at the time. I wouldn't change any of it for the world.
Hi, I'm Danielle Jones, and I'm from Houston. Today, actually, something very unexpectedly happened to me. So I have a podcast of my own called Between Us Girls. So one of my friends sent me a screenshot of this woman. It was like from a month ago, and she was looking for people to interview for a potential reality show featuring podcasters. And I was just like, it's such a long time ago. Like, she's probably already, met with people and got this stuff done. And I was just like, I don't know. So I reached out to her anyway, and I was like, well, we'll just see. And so she responded back today and was like, I would really love the opportunity to interview you guys for the show. And I was just like, oh my God. Like, one, our show is really small. We've only been doing it for a little over 6 months or so. And so it's just like, oh my God, are you serious right now? Like, you really want to interview us for a potential reality show and interview, since you want to do like man on the street style interviews as well. And I was just like, oh my God, are you serious? Like right now? Oh my God. I was like, I don't even know how to deal with that. And another guy locally here asked us to be on his radio show. So it's like two things that just like happened like out of the blue. Like I had no idea. Well, actually a third thing happened. We also got nominated for something on Twitter, a weekly showcase award. So I was just like, where is all of this coming from? And one of my friends actually reminded me, one of the girls that's on the show, she was like, you're always saying the universe only knows abundance. And she's like, and here we are. And I was just like, oh my God, like I can't even believe it right now. It's like, just to be able to have the opportunity, like I don't know where it's going to go, but just to have the opportunity to interview for it is just like so amazing to me right now.
Well, you're going to have to give us the update of what happens. So please post in the Facebook group and share with us all what happens. I'll put a link to your podcast in the show notes so people can check out Between Us Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, so please do keep us updated because the universe is clearly giving you some unexpected gifts around getting your voice out and heard more.
Hi, my name's Pauline Duncan. I live in Wallen, a little town just north of Melbourne. So I was told by every medical professional that I would not fall pregnant. I always said one day. And then I fell pregnant and I lost 3 babies in a period of time, but I knew that I would fall pregnant. So to me, that's a blessing and a gift, unexpected but expected, I guess. And then I had 3 beautiful children. So I call that a blessing and a gift, unexpected, but deep down I expected that it would come in its own time and its own space. Oh, and then I can think of lots of little things even just currently that happen, even just with I'm on a pension, so sometimes I feel like I'm struggling for money or whatever, and then all of a sudden I get this thought, or something happens and I might find another $20, or I return something and so that gives me another $50, and to me they're blessings and gifts. That means the universe is still looking after me. It's finding me money in different places that I don't know where it's going to come from.
It's funny how we can have such limiting beliefs around money. If we think, well, I can only earn so much money because this is what my pension is, or I can only work this many hours and I get paid this much per hour. Therefore, that is all that my income can be. But it can be delivered in so many creative ways. I know I've shared these stories in the past. However, it's things like I had, over a very short period of time, the tax office contact me. I'd overpaid my GST. And I thought, no, I actually thought it was a scam phone call at first. And it wasn't. It was real. It can be where you know that there's something that you have to purchase that's actually a need, not a want. And then you see that need being met where it's on special, or somebody gifts it to you, or there's so many ways, or it's out in hard rubbish on the next door neighbours and you've got a freebie. There's so many ways that the universe can deliver financial abundance that we have limiting beliefs around.
I just turned 50 a week and a half ago, and my family gave me...
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Yep, I've got another 50 to go, and the best 50 years is going to be, I decided.
Louise Hay says that every decade. She says, this is going to be the best decade of my life. I took that from her, and so far, and I expect it to fully continue, I agree with you. I actually go every year, this is going to be the best year of my life.
Yeah, for sure. I think, and we learn more about ourselves, and it just seems to flow that way. Someone said, what do you want? And I go, I don't want anything. And then I go, I just want a weekend away with my kids. I haven't had that in years. And then it got to my family are in timeshare resorts, and they get those little bonuses. And then my family live in a hometown a couple of hours away. We used to always be there, but now we aren't. We get a day trip if we're lucky. I go, well, I've only got 4 or 5 days. That's all I need, but I need someone to care for the dogs. And I go, if I can't go have that care, then we can't go. I go, no, something will happen, and it'll happen. It just happened, and I can't afford to pay someone. It has to be someone for free. So now I actually have someone coming in to house sit and look after the dogs for the 5 days, and then the kids and I get to go away. So we haven't had to pay anything, and we get to go away.
I'm Ella Whittaker, and I'm a Kiwi. So I'm from New Zealand, and I'm currently travelling. So I've been in the UK and travelling Europe for 4 months. I think my spiritual journey has been something that's really surprised me. I grew up in a family that, I don't know, spirituality is not really talked about, that there's no, it hasn't, it's just something that's not been talked about.
Do you mean it hasn't been role modelled to you, and that there was nobody in your family that, you haven't seen spirituality before? It's not been a part of your world?
Yeah, absolutely. Not at all. And so to end up here in the midst of learning about spirituality and emotions and the whole mind, body, soul kind of connection and that kind of stuff has been really surprising and really great.
So it's a path that you never anticipated, and it just kind of took a life of its own. And then here you are going, wow, where did that journey come from? I didn't see that written in my blueprint.
Yeah.
It is unusual. So I guess there's that feeling of, was I really meant to be born into this family? Maybe I was, maybe my mum had an affair and I was the milkman's child or something, Because I just don't seem to fit in with this family. I've certainly had feelings like that. That doesn't mean I don't love my family, but I do sometimes look at them, shake my head and go, really? How did I come out of this family? But then, of course, there are a lot of reasons why that I can join all those dots now. Well, that's a gorgeous, unexpected journey, isn't it, to go on to have the spiritual awakening, for want of a better word, or desire to connect with the universe in a greater way.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Linda from Tassie. I happened to come across a meditation group, which I had the opportunity to attend for a short while. And in that meditation group, I came across someone who had a house that they were about to vacate. And at the time, we were looking for a house. We went through 6, 10, 12 that were so close to coming over the line and then failed. And then all of a sudden, this rental came up, and it is a dime. It's perfect.
You've got
So,
an amazing home. I would love you to pop a photo of it if you're comfortable in the show notes, in the Facebook group, so that people can see, because it is an absolutely beautiful home. It's really special and unique. Even though you were looking for a home, you didn't expect to find it by going to a meditation class.
No. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to go back to the meditation class since we've moved, just due to a number of factors, but it certainly served its purpose for the time that we had it, and I do hope that I'll get back soon as I can.
And it is just so wonderful when we have the unexpected surprises manifest. And so that just raises hope, doesn't it? That when sometimes we can feel stuck, we need to remind ourselves of these moments, because I don't think there's a person listening that wouldn't have stories. And this is just one of your stories. I'm sure if you thought about it longer, you'd probably have 20, 30, 40 that you can share.
It's very easy for me to get swept up into my victim story in the past, and I've really had to rewrite that story.
And it's not just that, it's also control, isn't it? And that is where the surrender, put it out to the universe and surrender. But when we're stuck in the control and it can feel so heavy and mundane and we lose hope, remind yourself of the stories that we've shared here, or remind yourself of what's happened to each person individually where the magic has appeared, because it can happen at any point.
Yes, unexpected, undefined forms that don't seem logical.
Jane's thought for the week.
I've had so many unexpected things occur in my life that really do appear as magic. In 1986, I wanted to audition for a group of dancers who performed for a sports team that my brother was playing for. So I contacted the club to ask when the auditions were being held. They shared they had to find a new choreographer, and in that moment it just fell out of my mouth. I'll do it. And to my surprise, they said yes. At that point, I had zero experience as a choreographer, and yet that one moment of less than 5 seconds long changed my life and led to a 23-year career in entertainment. Like the tribe stories shared today, I've had holidays miraculously be offered just when desperately needed. I've had special new friends appear in my life with divine synchronicity. I saw a for sale sign actually being put up on land that was perfect for us to build our family home on, so we were the first to grab it and get our offer accepted. Having a phone call from a radio producer when I was at the super old for radio age of 50 to be a part of a national radio show. And of course, the moment that Beck rang me and asked me to do a podcast with her, not even knowing what a podcast was. The right spiritual teachers appear as I cry to the universe for desperate help. The Rockstar car park when I'm running late for an I can't be late appointment. Unexpected words of encouragement when I'm feeling unworthy. Or bigger stuff like falling in love with the world's most adorable puppy when I really at the time wanted a cat. And so on the stories go. I've hundreds of unexpected, incredible moments, as I know you do. Again, I encourage you to take the time to really look at the magic of your life. Yes, this might appear a little bit Pollyanna, and believe me, I've been accused of that my whole entire life, and really, I don't mind. I like being this way. Or maybe it's a bit cliche, glass half full, and yet this way of seeing the world, it enables me to float through my days with greater happiness than if I didn't have this awareness. And I also share in Rosie's theory of what has been your greatest challenge that you've overcome is also your greatest gift to share. I never expected being highly sensitive to bring the gifts of sharing the knowledge with others that it has. Are we really here talking about everyday miracles? You know, what is a miracle? The dictionary defines it as an extraordinary and welcome event that is not explainable by natural or scientific laws and is therefore attributed to a divine agency. Perhaps our stories can be explained by nature or scientific laws, or perhaps they can't. I really don't feel it matters. I feel believing in magic, miracles, divine intervention, synchronicity, or even coincidence, which, by the way, I don't believe in. It's all part of the magic of life. And remind